Hi, and welcome to Fitsmi Radio. I'm your host, Abby Ellen. In case you're new to Fitsmi, we are an online community for girls and their moms who are struggling with weight and body issues. Check us out at fitsme.com and fitsmeformoms.com. That's F as in Frank, I-T-S as in Sunday, M-I. I'm so happy that today's guest is Rachel Qualley, who's one of the stars of Too Fat for 15. Rachel is, in fact, 15 and a sophomore in high school in Connecticut, but she had spent about 7 months at Wellspring Academy, which was a boarding school for kids struggling with weight issues. And so she's here to tell us all about that. Hi, Rachel.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your decision to attend Wellspring. Before you went there, had you tried to lose weight before, and what was that like, and what did you do, and did you have any success?
Well, before I went to Wellspring, it was, family dieting, trying to make it to the gym and stuff like that, and it was successful for my family, but it wasn't too successful for me because I was being bullied at school and stuff. Yeah, so I had emotional snacking, I guess you could say. I was sneaking food. So when my family would have weight loss, I would find that weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you being bullied for your weight, I imagine?
Yes, for my weight, and there was lots of not nice comments.
Yeah, no, I know. I know. I was an overweight kid, too. So had you always struggled with your weight? Was that something that had been with you since you were young?
Yeah, it's always been I guess you could say, lifelong issue until Wellspring.
Okay. So at what point did you and your family decide that going to Wellspring was the best step you could take for your health?
Well, my mom proposed the idea to me when I was about 12, and then I really didn't consider it because 12 was just so young, and I was scared, honestly. But it was summer break, and I was over at my aunt's, and I was talking to my cousin, and I was about 13 at the time. And my mom called and told us about the TV show, and we just, from there, I don't know, it just kind of happened, and I decided that I would try it out, and I was gone like a month later.
So you had seen the TV show. That's how you learned of the school, from Too Fat for 15?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you went. Okay, you must have been one of the youngest kids.
Yeah, one of the youngest.
Younger. Yeah. Okay. Were you nervous? Had you lived away from home before?
I had not lived away from home besides like 1 week at the most, so I was definitely very nervous.
I can imagine. Okay. And so did you know, when you went to the show, did you know that you were going to be on Too Fat for 15, or was that...
Well, we didn't know they were doing a second season, so I was just kind of going and just to go. And then signing up there, someone came up to me and they were like, would you like to be on a show? And I was like, what? So, of course, talking to my mom and all that, we decided that, I wanted to try to inspire people out there. Yes.
So you said, okay, so tell me a little bit about the show in case our listeners don't know it.
Well, the show is just about our problems, not problems, I guess you could say our journey.
It follows 5 kids?
I think 5 kids, yes.
Okay. So it follows 5 kids from who are trying to lose weight at the school.
Yes.
Okay.
And the cameras followed us through certain meals we were eating, certain activities, stuff like that, and we would just kind of go on.
What did you think about when you saw yourself on TV? And also, was it annoying having these cameras in your face all the time?
When I first saw myself on TV, it was weird, you know, it was kind of like, I don't know, just like, I'm on TV. It's like exciting and kind of like, wow, at the same time. It was cool. And then, I got like Facebook messages from people just saying all sorts of nice stuff, like you inspire me and stuff, and that's exactly what I was going for, so I was excited for stuff like that. It was very exciting. And having the cameras follow you wasn't that bad. They were at times like the ropes course. We did a ropes course while we were there.
Uh-huh.
I was a little annoyed then because, it was scary and they were in your face, so you were kind of like trying not to fall off the ropes course. It was horrifying. But besides that, overall, I think it wasn't that bad,
Would the cameras go with you into, I don't know, were there group therapy sessions? Were there other places that they were not allowed, or could they have free access to everything?
Free access to everything for the most part. We could say no, that if we didn't want to be filmed, they wouldn't film us. But, like, they got some footage of us sleeping, type thing, getting up in the morning, which is not a pretty sight.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and what about with weight loss? Was there ever a time when you didn't lose as much weight as you wanted to, and the cameras were there, or maybe you gained weight one week? I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, I didn't gain at all at last spring, which I was happy of, but there were definitely a few times when, I felt like I was going to have a big weight loss, and I was all pumped, and then I only had like a 1 or 2 pound loss, and I wasn't too happy with it. So
Right.
They were definitely there for a few unhappy times.
Rachel, how much weight did you lose total?
80 pounds, 82.
You lost 80 pounds in 7 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Did your friends at home or did any of your classmates, especially the ones who bullied you, did they know where you were going? And were you worried about them seeing you on TV?
No one besides a few people, like my best friend Cassidy, really knew exactly where I was going. So, it was kind of, it was just, I was gone. And it was also my freshman year, so it was kind of like starting new and everything. So no one really knew me too well unless you knew me from before, or you were my friends and stuff like that. And I was a little worried, not necessarily worried, like what would they say, but kind of like what would they think if they saw me on TV, especially with the name of the show, Too Fat for 15. So I was a little worried at first, but eventually a few people found out, and then the whole school knew, and that was a little scary but cool at the same time because it was all positive. So that was one thing that I wasn't expecting, especially from like teenagers, because all the experiences that I've had with teenagers were kind of bullying. So to get such a positive reaction from everyone, I was psyched.
It's interesting. When I went to camp as a kid, when I went to weight loss camp, I didn't tell anybody about it at school. And then when I came home and I lost about 15 pounds, and I told them I had gotten sick and had mono. I didn't want anybody to know. But this was a long time ago. I think there's, I don't know. I'm curious what you think. It seems like it's become okay to have gone and to go to a place like Wellspring or weight loss camp, because the perception is that you're doing something good for yourself and you're trying to make a change, and you're acknowledging that maybe you have an issue or a problem or struggle and that you're trying to fix that. Do you agree with that, or do you think people were
definitely 100% agree.
Yeah.
As I said, I got all positive reactions from even people that I didn't know, just random people, like when a trip to the gym, a lady came up to me and she was like, "Were you on TV?" And I was just like, "Yes, ma'am." And she was just like, "That's amazing, you're doing great." And as I said, from kids from school that I didn't even know just recognized me, came up to me and said, "That's awesome."
That's so great. So when you came home, okay, so you have lost 80 pounds, and you're feeling great. Were you done with your weight loss, or did you want to lose more weight?
I wanted to lose more weight, but I was also in a healthy weight zone, I guess you could say. So I was, it was kind of like I wanted to be lower just for safe, like a safety reason type thing. But if I didn't lose any more weight, I was okay.
Okay. What kept you motivated throughout the journey and, well, I guess actually once you got home from Wellspring? Because I imagine it's not that difficult it's hard to lose weight, but you're in a controlled environment, right? So
yes,
it's easier than when you go home. So what was it like after, being out in the real world?
At first, when I first came home, it was a little difficult because at Wellspring, everything's always planned out. Like, you have a schedule: breakfast, school, lunch, activity, free time, dinner, activity. That was every day, that exact schedule. So when you come home, you don't have someone waking you up, getting you out the activity and breakfast and stuff. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. Right. No, that's right. That's right. So you're on your own again.
Exactly. So when I first got home, adjusting took a little while because it was kind of like, okay, now we have to throw school in there, and school's not planned out like every day. So you have to plan out school, activity, meals, stuff like that. And it was a little difficult at first, but like now I have the hang of it. What
about the food? Did your mom help you cook? When you came home, did you cook yourself or?
Yeah, my mom helps me cook all the time. They give you a cookbook from school, Wellspring, and there are recipes in there that they would cook at school. And every night, my mom cooks dinner for us. She does.
Okay, nice, Mom. So what about when you're on your own at school and you can snack and you can, did you keep your weight off when you went home?
I gained a few pounds because, as I said, kind of adjusting at first.
Right.
But I've lost it, so lost the weight.
You did. Great. And okay, so how did you do that?
Getting back on track, self-control at school, not, knowing that I could if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. I was happy with what I was eating. I was happy with everything. So I didn't feel like I had to go off and sneak food and stuff like that. So it was kind of, as I said, just getting back on track.
Did you go back to Wellspring after? Was that what I understood?
Yes. I went initially for 5 months, came home, and then went back for another 2. Yes.
Okay. And why did you go back for the other 2?
Because at the time I was about 180 pounds, and coming home, I don't think I gave it long enough for me to adjust, and I was kind of used to my schedule that I had at Wellspring. Also, it was time for midterms and finals, and that was kind of a mix-up at school, so I ended up going back and finishing all that up.
Okay, I got it. Do you know how your other friends from Wellspring who left and went home, how are they doing with their weight?
So far that I know, they're all doing pretty well, that I know of.
Have the cameras come home and shot you since you've been home in after school, since now that you're back in Connecticut?
No, they have not.
So they don't follow you after. It's just while you're there.
I mean, the thing in April, what was it? Fight with Style. It was a thing on Style Network. There was that, and that was afterwards. Besides that, no, not really.
Not really. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm so interested in that, because that's so hard. It's such a huge adjustment. And tell me about the changes that you made when you came home. What and how what kind of changes did the whole family make, or was it really pretty much just you?
Oh no, it was definitely my whole family. While I was there, my mom dropped me off, and then she made a promise to me that As soon as she got home, everything was changing. So we got all the junk food out of our house and replaced it with healthier snacks, healthier food, stuff like that. And they were walking the block every day, going to the gym and stuff like that, and it still goes on.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have 2 brothers.
And do they have weight problems?
My little brother is a twig. No weight problems at all. And my big brother, a little. He's 6'2", 2'3". So he's tall, and his weight problems don't really show.
Lucky him.
Right.
Well, that's interesting. They're boys, right? So, do you think that could they not relate to what you were struggling with? Because you're maybe a girl, or do you think? I guess obviously at school there were guys at school who had weight problems.
Yeah.
So it's not just a girl's issue. But do you think it's different for girls and guys?
I mean, I think sometimes, even though it's really hard, not always really hard to lose weight, but it's hard to lose weight. I think it's easier for guys.
Yeah.
Honest opinion. But my big brother, at the time, before he grew tall, he definitely was a bit pudgier. He was definitely overweight, and then growth spurred and it all evened out.
Well, do you think, it's interesting though, do you think guys get treated differently in the culture? Guys with weight problems get treated differently than girls, or do guys get bullied at school too?
I think although some guys get bullied, I think it's definitely way less than girls, because girls, we're expected to live up to something that, it's kind of like the whole model type thing. You have to be a twig to fit in, or else you're an oddball out, which I obviously don't believe that. But,
Right. Well, here's another question. You accomplished something pretty spectacular. Are you proud of yourself?
I am definitely proud of myself. Thank you, by the way. It's kind of just like to have that accomplishment, not only do I feel that I look better, but I just feel so much better. I'm happy. I wear stuff that I wasn't wearing before that I feel that I look good in, as opposed to when, the stuff that I was wearing that fit comfortably before, I just wasn't happy. Right.
Do you think you could have done it at what you did at school? Do you think you could have done it at home?
I don't think so. I think I needed that controlled environment, and there was no bullying. It was a different environment.
Right. Well, that's actually the interesting question now is, do you feel that any of your friends or any other teens who tried to lose weight and were not successful, do you think they feel jealous of you?
I don't think so. My best friend Cassidy, she's struggling with weight problems, and she doesn't seem jealous at all. In fact, we take her to the gym with us daily. We run over to her house, pick her up, and take her to the gym, and she actually tags along. Her family also has a cookbook, and she cooks the meals at home just like we do.
Wow, that's great. So you're an inspiration.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You are. Well, do you go to the gym every day?
Yes, ma'am. We try to, except for weekends.
So 5 days a week. What do you do at the gym?
At first we walk laps, and then, treadmill, elliptical, and stuff, and weights.
You do weight. So you're there for about what, an hour?
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay. Oh, really? When do you go after school or before school?
After school. I went before school for a while, but I was getting up at 4:45, and it was killing me.
Yeah, that's. But where do you? What gym is it? There's a gym that you can go to that is for kids and their parents or families, or is it
on base? Because we're retired military. They have two gyms on base, and you can go as a family. Yes.
Oh, I see. I see. That's good. Okay. Do you see a lot of kids working out, or is it mostly their parents?
It's mostly adults, honestly, but there are a few teens there. And there's also, different activities like yoga and core classes, different classes, Zumba, stuff like that.
It's funny. I've always wondered if bases are kind of like camps as well. And, they're controlled environments, right?
Yes.
I mean, to a certain point, there are certain things you can and can't do. I guess no one's regulating what you eat.
Yeah. Exactly.
But, it's interesting. Okay, so here's another question. Are you afraid of gaining your weight back?
I've thought about that a bit, actually. And, it definitely scares you to think about gaining all your weight back, but you also have to take into consideration what you're doing, what you're eating, and, if you're eating wrong and, what you're not supposed to and stuff and not working out, that it's not going to work out because that's what you were doing before.
Mhm.
So now that I'm still eating right and still working out, I mean, not really.
Well, what's the fear? Is the fear that you would just lose control and you would that's my fear. That is my fear, is that eventually I'll just keep pigging out and I'll just lose control and that'll be the end of that.
I mean, I suppose, you can kind of look at it that way, but I don't know. My mom always says everything in moderation, so I kind of think, if I want that piece of cake once in a while, if, it's okay to have that. If my daily calories and fat, allow it, it's okay. I mean, obviously I won't go eating it every day, but it's kind of just that one taste you not necessarily need, but, just like a few bites of that cake and I'm satisfied.
That's funny. I get a few bites of the cake and I just want more. It's interesting how different people are, right? I can't, the minute I taste an M&M, I want 8,500. I can't, it's so I'm better off personally not having it. But I know
my dad's like that.
Oh, is he? Isn't that funny?
Yes.
But some people, for them, it's like, okay, just give me a few and I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, also I do have to say, my mom's a cake decorator.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
I know.
So you have cakes in the house?
All the time.
Oh, that's slightly torturous, isn't it?
A little, but you also have to take into consideration, they're for customers, so you can't really be picking at them.
Yeah, I guess that would kind of ruin your mom's business, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. But
go on.
Oh, sorry.
I
was taking a cake decorating course of hers, and I went to lick a little piece of icing, and I ended up spitting it out because it was too sweet. And before, I could lick my finger 1,000 times. Right. It changed from my having a sweet tooth to, I still have one, but it's not as sweet.
What was that like, taking a cake decorating class? Do you look at it still? I guess it's sweet, so you didn't like the way it tasted, but do you still look at it as something that's kind of forbidden, or does it become this just art installation? When I was actually, the first time I went to fat camp, I was 16, and I came home and I got a job in a candy store, and everybody said to me, you're not going to want it after a while. You're not going to care because it's going to be meaningless to you. It's just going to, it's going to look like nothing. And that wasn't true. I mean, I wanted the chocolate. I had the absolute opposite effect. I just, again, pigged out or wanted to pig out. Did you have that?
You're wrong. There are definitely a few times where, you're just kind of like, I really want that chocolate.
Yeah.
I want that piece of cake. But with the cake decorating, it's kind of, I don't know, it was creativity. I love art, everything to do with art, string, anything that is art creative. Exactly.
Yeah, art. It's art. Yeah.
I love. So cake decorating was just another form of art to me, It was. I
have a friend whom I met my first year at camp. This is going back, many years, and she is a pastry chef. That's what she does now for a living. That's what she makes, desserts, and she decorates cakes and all of that. And she had struggled with her weight for years, and that's what she does. And again, it's an art expression. So I totally get what you're saying. I mean, totally. But I think that's so interesting. But do you ever think, okay, I want this so badly, and yet you don't have it because, again, what is that voice that tells you I'm not going to have this? I don't need it. How do you talk to yourself?
Well, it's definitely a lot of support from my parents.
Yeah.
First, and then I don't know. It's just kind of, I guess you could say I weigh it out. Do I want that Butterfinger now and have to pay the price later on the scale, or at the gym, or do I want to wait for my snack later to have, fat-free frozen yogurt?
Right.
They have cookies and cream frozen yogurt and stuff like that I enjoy just as much as a Butterfinger, and it lasts twice as long, you know? So
right.
Stuff like that.
Okay, I gotcha. So tell me, a few more questions. I am curious, would you do the TV show all over again? Do you feel like it helped or hindered or had no impact on your weight loss?
I think it definitely helped because not only was I, trying to not necessarily impress, but motivate people at home.
Yeah.
Because I had phone calls weekly, but it also, I had the mentality that, what I did there and then, it was going to be shown on TV later. So whether, I wanted not necessarily to look good, but just to try to inspire someone to show that, even though it's hard, it's still possible, and that I definitely wanted to inspire people.
Do you get fan mail ever?
I get Facebook messages all the time and Facebook friend requests and all the time. I love it, honestly. It's really cool because there are just so many people that have contacted me because of the show and always asking for advice and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I'm no expert, but I can try to tell you what I did and try to help. I love it.
What advice do you give? You hear from guys or girls or both?
Both.
You hear from both. Cool. Okay. So what advice do you give teens, whether it's a guy or a girl, anyone who wants to make changes in their life and lose weight? What's your favorite approach?
I look at stuff like I try to tell them, first try to watch what you're eating, try to count calories and fat, because that's what we were doing at Wellspring. They gave us an SMJ, a self-monitoring journal, and they said, write down everything you eat, drink, anything that has calories or fat, write it down, anything that goes in your mouth. So we started with that, and you just want to do your best to stay at 1,200 calories and 12 grams of fat or below, and that will help you. And then from there, try to get into a sport that you like. Try new things. Like I like racquetball. I like ultimate frisbee. I love stuff like that, and I would have never known if I hadn't actually tried it. Try to get into a team. Something with other people that can support you through all of this and stuff like that.
So do you think when you grow up, would you want to teach at a school like Wellspring, or would you want to become a nutritionist, or do you want to be a cake decorator or a chef? Or do you think about this now, or maybe you don't even think about it at all?
I thought about it for a while, and, at first I was thinking I want to be a chef, and then I was like, ooh, I want to be a chef for Wellspring. And then I was kind of like, I don't know, there are so many options out there that, it's just limitless. So I'm not sure, it's kind of fun to think about.
Well, you have time. You're only 15. I know you're almost 16. So thank you, Rachel Qualley. You are awesome. I'm so happy that you came with us, and I'm so happy that you're still just rocking and losing weight. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.